Good afternoon. It's Saturday afternoon. We've had kind of a lazy day. It's been a busy week. But I had some bananas that have gotten a little bit too ripe for our taste just to eat plain. So I thought I'd whip up some banana bread. Now, this is a recipe I've used out of the Betty Crocker cookbook I've had since I first got married 43 years ago. They have variations on it that are all good. It's also where I get my pumpkin bread recipe. Page 52, if you're looking under tea breads, that's the one I use. This banana has lots of sugar spots on it, and that's when it makes it perfect for banana bread. So what I've done is I'm doubling this recipe because sharing is caring. And I've got 5 bananas in here because they talk about in the recipe 2 to 3 for a single loaf. So if you're going to make 2 loaves, just double everything in the recipe that I printed out, and it's in the instructions there, or a picture with the instructions of what you'll need. It's pretty simple. I've got an avocado masher, but you could use a potato masher, a fork, whatever. But what you want to do is get this to the point where you can stir it. And I'm going to show you. See, it's not too chunky, but it's not liquid either, because you're going to want that chunks in your bread. And make sure you watch this video all the way to the end, because there's a really important tip at the end you're going to get that will just set your banana bread above the rest. So in my big bowl, according to just like it says in the nut bread instructions, I've got, well, I'm doubling the recipe. So I have 5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of sugar, 7 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, and to my bananas, I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of salad oil. Now remember, this is making 2. So I have this handy dandy little liquid measure that's tiny that goes all the way up to 4 tablespoons. So I just do 2 threes. Okay, I'm going to add that to my wet ingredients. And you'll notice on the recipe at the bottom, the normal recipe would call for 1.5 cups of milk. Because we're adding these bananas, we cut the milk down to 3/4 cup. So because I'm doubling it, that means 1.5 cups. And when I bake, I use whole milk. And there is 1.5 cups. So I'm going to put this back so it doesn't get hot. Not that this house is hot. And then I've got my spoon, and I'm gonna stir those wet ingredients together. And I've stirred those dry ingredients together. And all I'm gonna do is pour that mess in a big, big bowl, because this makes a lot. And what the liquid does is it's gonna activate that baking powder. And so you don't wanna overbeat this. Don't use a mixer. Just use your hand, a spoon, hand spoon, not your hand. That would not be good. But I'll show you. So it's like a thick muffin batter. You want to make sure all those dry ingredients are incorporated, because you don't want any dry spots in your bread. And then to that, I'm going to add about 2 cups of chopped pecans. Now, where I'm from, in the West Coast, pecans aren't really well known because we don't grow them. Well, we don't grow them out on the coast, but they do inland. But almonds and English walnuts are the big thing there. So I always had it with walnuts. But back here, pecans are the way to go. And the best pecans I've found are at a little farm store called Orscheln's. It's a farm and home store, you know, where the cowboys go and that kind of thing. But I got a package of them in a basket I won at family reunion, and they were just the best tasting pecans. And I don't know how they roasted them or coated them or whatever, but they were good. Anyway, I found them the other day at Orscheln's, so I bought me some. So that's what we're going to use. But you can use Planters pecans or ones you get at Costco, Sam's. And my cup is a hand, so I just drop 1, 2, maybe a half for good measure. I'm not real precise. I should be. A baker should be precise. But I know these recipes like I do the back of my hand, so I'm just gonna lightly stir those in. Now, I've got 2 loaf pans ready to go. Now this is your standard loaf pan, and that will work fine. I find it's harder to get everything done where the center isn't doughy without drying out the bread. So King Arthur Flour, which is a fabulous resource for flours and tools for baking, has these little loaf pans. They're not little, they hold a whole recipe of a loaf pan. They're just narrower and longer. So I've got some Pam for baking, and I've sprayed the bottom of both of those already. And we're just gonna pour this in there. And I'm gonna show you how much should be in there. I've got a little dry ingredients that need to get incorporated. Okay. Now this does rise, but it won't overflow and make a mess of your oven. So that's always good. And let me get a spatula. We're gonna get every little last bit of that out of here. So we have 2 pans that are about 2/3 full, I'd say. Okay. Now this is one of my little tips. Now I know, don't eat raw dough, but oh well. I take sparkling sugar. I did this on accident one day. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I've been making something else and I just did it, and my husband has loved it ever since. It's a sparkling sugar. It's a chunky, sparkly sugar. And what I do is just lay a little strip right across the top, and it doesn't melt into your dough. It'll stay on top, and then when you bite into that banana nut bread, it's gonna have a little crunch, and it's just really good, trust me. So now we're gonna stick this into a preheated 350 degree oven, and we're gonna start at 50 minutes. I don't open my door, I turn my light on, and I can tell just because I've done it so much. You want them brown, but not dark. And if you think they're done, push your finger in the center just slightly. If it gives too much, nope, they need another 10 minutes. If it doesn't give, time to come out. So let me do that, and I'll be back when they're done. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm sitting here waiting for this bread to get done, and it dawns on me that I did not show putting in 2 eggs. The recipe calls for 1. Because I doubled it, I put 2 eggs. Do not forget to put 2 eggs, okay? So sorry. Okay, so after the disastrous, forgot to tell you about the eggs, here they are. I have 2 beautiful loaves of banana bread. Now, they're still warm, but I can pick them up. And what we're gonna do, this is my trick. I learned this from an elderly friend of mine at church, and she said, do you ripen your banana bread? And I said, I'm not sure I know what you mean. And she said, well, when you bring it out and it's started to cool to the point where you can handle it without burning yourself, she said, take you some plastic wrap, and I use press and seal, and you can see how big a piece I'm gonna use. And I'm gonna put it down so that the sticky side is up on my counter. And then I'm gonna kind of work my bread around. You can run a knife if you want. And some of the sanding sugar will fall off, but that's okay, it'll just go on the bottom. And then you're going to put that on there, fold it up like you would a diaper, kind of. And then you're gonna wrap the whole thing in aluminum foil. And what you wanna do is do that. I'm gonna do the second row too. And leave it in the wrapper here for about 4 hours or longer. I do this so that tomorrow morning we can have this for breakfast, you know, with a smoothie or a glass of milk or something. You might wanna eat some while it's warm, and that's okay too, but it truly will bring out the banana flavor if you wait till it's basically kind of steamed, I guess you would call it. Don't forget to wrap it. I think I'm almost out of, oh well, maybe not. I thought I was almost out of aluminum foil. So I just double wrap it. Just do this. Now this loaf will be going down to my in-laws. And then the other loaf I'll leave for here. And oh, this was the Starling thing my sister made me for my birthday. I love my hot pan. I don't know if I have enough on this roll. Oh, maybe. Oh, good. Can almost be set up. So we're gonna take one down to the folks and one for us. And it makes a great gift. Neighbors love this stuff. Whenever or take it to one of your club meetings or whatever you have. So that's banana nut bread. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think.